Hey everyone, Josh here. I am super excited to be sharing with you a brand new project that's going to introduce you to the world of my upcoming YA fantasy book. It's going to be dropping, hopefully, fingers crossed, later this year. This is going to be a sort of write with me, sort of choose your own adventure, where I am going to every week write 500 to 1,000 words of a new installment to this saga that we're going to go through together. And you, the viewer, are going to choose at the end how you would like the story to proceed. I'm going to give you a few choices. You can also write in your own choices, and whatever gets the most upvotes, as long as it's not something that's horribly offensive or just like completely out of left field, I will incorporate that into the next installment. So you're essentially going to be putting me in the position where I have to write the next installment based on what you want to see happen. Now, this story, like I said, is going to be taking place in the fantasy world that I am writing for my new book that's coming out. It's sort of a Supernatural meets Wednesday, a little bit of Harry Potter mixed in there. It's basically students at a school in upstate New York who are supernatural beings. So this story is going to be considered canon to the world that I am creating. This character is sort of like a character that you might see at some points down the line in the main stories that I'm writing, but we're going to be talking about her adventure to start off with, so you can get a sense of what this world is about. New installment will be dropping once a week. I'm aiming for them to come out on Thursday or Friday. So without further ado, let's get into the story. And remember, drop a comment letting me know which option you would like me to take as far as the next installment, or if you have a better idea, go ahead and leave that down there.
The house is almost pitch black as you lie in your bed staring at the ceiling. You've tried everything, counting sheep, doing long division, replaying old episodes of Bones that you used to watch with your mom in your head. Nothing's worked. When you roll over to look at your phone, the clock reads 12:47 a.m., December 23rd. It's the day before Christmas. That realization sends your stomach into your throat. It's not that you hate Christmas, you have so many wonderful memories associated with the holiday. Caroling with your family, drinking hot cocoa with marshmallows, opening presents, and eating the gingerbread men that Santa didn't eat. But this Christmas is different. You just got back from your first year at Sleepy Hollow Academy, school for the supernaturally gifted. You're not the first in your family to attend SHA. In fact, you're on track to be a 7th-generation medium to graduate from the school. Your parents were so thrilled when you first heard the voices in the family graveyard. They rushed to enroll you at SHA, showering you with hugs and kisses before running off to tell the rest of the family. And those burdens, that pressure, is exactly what has let you only sleep for a few hours since you returned home. The second you stepped into their car, they started peppering you with questions, but you kept your answers brief. Mom and Dad seemed to chalk that up to you being exhausted after a stressful first semester. The truth is, you just didn't have the heart to tell your mom and dad that after a semester at SHA, your powers were no more developed than they were when you left, that you could still only get fragments of thoughts, sensations of where dead bodies are, rather than full impressions or even full-on communications with the dead. Mom and Dad are incredibly accomplished mediums working with ghost hunters and even assisting with a few exorcisms with the Catholic Church. Hell, they were well known enough that they even had that YouTuber Disrupting the Supernatural do a whole episode debunking some of their cases. It seemed only natural that their daughter was going to join the family business after graduating from Sleepy Hollow. To find that their only daughter was struggling with her magical training would break their hearts. But that was nothing compared to the reaction from the rest of the family. Christmas was always a high affair in your house, not just because of all of the activities, but because of all the visitors. It's more than just Aunt Cindy, Uncle Barry, and your 2 cousins, Mac and Molly. It's everyone else who comes too. Grandma, who died 2 years ago. Grandpa, who passed away 8 years ago. Great-grandparents, uncles, aunts, and other long-lost relatives who have since passed, crossing over from the other side to spend the holiday with their descendants. Mom described it as her favorite day of the year, getting to see all of the people who had passed on again. And she was so excited to share that with you, to finally introduce you to her grandparents who died before you were even a glint in your mother's eye, your aunt who died when you were barely 1 year old. So many relatives she had to show you off to, who she could finally formally introduce you to. It was going to destroy her when you had to admit that you couldn't see or hear any of them. Just the thought brought tears to your eyes. You had spent so much time in the SHA library during that first semester, learning everything you could about how to amplify and harness your medium abilities. Mrs. Whittington, who taught introductory telepathy and psychic abilities, was kind to you as you struggled. She worked with you on your techniques, offered up potential energy sources to amplify your powers. Crystals, potions, different flowers and tinctures, you tried them all, but still you couldn't see anyone. Barely heard more than whispers. "Don't worry, dear," Mrs. Whittington had said one night. "Your powers will manifest eventually, it just takes longer for some people." But when? So there you lay, the night before Christmas Eve, staring at the ceiling, trying to will your psychic powers to finally fully manifest themselves. After a few minutes of straining to try and hear your mom or dad's nocturnal thoughts, you give up and try and focus on going to sleep. Rolling over, you scroll your phone to see what some of your classmates on the West Coast who are still awake are up to. When that doesn't work, you put the phone back on your nightstand and wrap yourself tighter in your faded comforter to squeeze just a bit of extra warmth into your body. But as you try and fall asleep, you start to hear a faint ringing. It's almost the pitch of tinnitus, the constant ring you might hear after a loud noise, but it's not constant. It's a rhythmic dinging, almost like a bell, and it sounds like it's coming from below your room. What do? A, lie in bed, ignore the ringing, and try and go to sleep. B, go down to your parents' room, wake them to see if they can hear the ringing. Or C, go downstairs to investigate the sound.